is everybody? Icon here, going over The Flash. We're back doing these DC reviews. I'm glad to be back. If you checked out my Legends of Tomorrow video, I just wanted to let everybody know, that I was sick due to the current, pandemic that's going on, and I was out for 17 days, and now I'm back. I'm 100%, and I'm ready to talk about The Flash. So let's get right into this particular episode. So, the episode starts pretty much where, I guess where we left last time, because when we last saw Nash Wells, he was being, Nash, like, he was going through the whole thing post-crisis, where he was seeing different Wells popping up like all over the place, like the multiverse of Wells was showing. One of them specifically was the Reverse Flash. So, and the Reverse Flash, he was the one who actually came out. Like he was able to actually use his consciousness to take over Nash's body. And he rolled up on, like Team Flash. So they locked him up in the pipeline, and then they were trying to figure out a way, they were trying to how can we get like the bad Wells out of his system? Because the team was trying to work on, because remember, like Barry doesn't have his powers. So the team was working on trying to create a brand new Speed Force, so Barry can get his powers back, but now they got to deal with the Nash situation. So, so now Reverse Flash is in his system. And he's just like, I'm going to get out. He's like, I'm going to take over Nash. So Cisco comes up with this thing. They're basically going to do an exorcism. They're coming up with a way where they can remove Thawne's consciousness and move his tachyons from Nash's body. So, they bring in Cecile because, again, like she can feel the different feelings of the different people because, again, since he has multiple Wells in his system, Cecile can feel all of them. So Cisco, Barry, they strap him down. They end up using those mind things that they used on DeVoe, the one that Harry used for Jesse, where he was projecting images like of her mom. So, they end up doing that. They go into Nash's consciousness. Earlier in the episode, they showed us an old clip of where, because remember, like Nash Wells, he was very attached to Allegra on Earth 1. Come to find out, he had the picture with her doppelganger, and her doppelganger, that's not his daughter, it's basically like his protege, his sidekick, if you will. Because on Nash's Earth, he was doing an expedition, and then this young girl named Maya showed up. She had a good knack for being able to, do archaeology stuff, like she knew because like Nash had this this artifact, and then she was like, oh, but the real treasure's inside. And then Nash is like, hey kid, you actually got a knack for this. And then, he brought up her parents. She was like, how she doesn't have any parents. So he was like, yo, you might as well roll with me. So although that wasn't his daughter officially, he raised her, he taught her everything he knew. So, she was like a daughter to him. And his biggest regret was that something happened to her, and he blamed himself, for what happened to her. So the Reverse Flash was actually going to use that pain to, because the thing with the Reverse Flash, like he uses like the negative Speed Force, and his negative energy feeds off of like pain and hurt and sorrow. So he created that memory of losing Maya over and over again, so Nash Wells could crack. And then once he fed off of all his despair, then the Reverse Flash can take over his body, and then he's back. He's back in the present. But so Barry and Cisco, they go into his mind. Barry's talking to Thawne, and then Cisco, he's talking to Nash, and he's like, listen, he's like, how the Reverse Flash is basically feeding off your pain. The only way for you to defeat the Reverse Flash and to get rid of this pain, he was just like, you have to confront this memory that you're afraid to confront, and then he didn't want to do it at first, but Cisco convinced him. He goes in, and then it takes us back to like a year ago on his Earth, where Maya and Nash, they were both looking for an artifact. Maya was, I guess, because she was smaller and lighter, because the artifact was like in a cavern, because there was like a cliff, and then there was like this whole cavern. So like Nash ends up lowering Maya down to the cavern. She chips away. She gets the artifact. He was trying to pull her up, but like there was problems with the rope. She was losing her grip, and Nash told her, he was like, listen, let go of the artifact, because if she let go of the artifact, then she'd have been able to use two hands, and then he could have easily pulled her up. But Nash always taught her, like, the artifact is everything, like the prize is everything. It's all about getting the prize. It's all about getting the artifact. So because of the training and everything, she was just like, like the prize is everything. So she refused to let the artifact go. And because she wouldn't let it go, she lost her grip, and then she fell into the cavern. And then, like Nash, he was just like, no. And then, she went to the cavern, and then obviously that her and the artifact are gone, and, she's presumed dead. And, Nash watched that, he rewatched that whole thing, he relived that whole thing. And then when he went back to where Cisco was, he was just like, it was my fault. Like, what happened to her was my fault. She died because of me, because of what I taught. Because throughout, in the beginning of the season, whenever his doppelganger, whenever Maya got brought up, he was just like, that's not my daughter. He was like, she was just an employee that was too overzealous, or she was too she was too much, she was too over eager or whatever. He basically blamed her youth and over eagerness on why she died. But he came to terms, he was just like, it was his fault, because he was like, I'm the one that taught her that the prize is everything, and because of that she wouldn't let it go. And he had to deal with that. So because he finally dealt with those feelings, he was feeling a different kind of pain. It was more like a pain out of love. He was thinking about the fact that he loved her and that he thought of her as a daughter. And because of that, those feelings it was able to push Eobard Thawne out. And then they were able to get his tachyon essence, because he became weaker. They got his essence out of Nash, and Thawne just exploded, his consciousness, his spirit, his tachyon body, whatever, his speed force essence just went off into the universe. So they were just like, yeah, if he reassembles his energy and finds a new body host, he could come back. So it's just something that they gotta they gotta keep mindful of. So now, so Cisco, so when when it's over, Cisco was talking to Nash. He was like, hey, we got Thawne out of your system, but you're still gonna have the entire Wells verse, living with inside. And he was like, I got all those people inside me. And he was like, yeah, you're gonna have to deal with that, so because Harry was talking to him at one point. So he's constantly gonna be confronted by the different Wells, because all the Wells and all the multiverse exist in his consciousness and in his mind. So after that, Cisco, Barry, and Kate, they were talking about about creating the Speed Force. And then Barry got the idea. He was just like, Nora, because last season, everything that Thawne taught Nora, she wrote everything down in her journal. And Team Flash still has her journal. So all the information, that she wrote down, because Thawne taught Nora how to create a Speed Force. And she wrote it in a journal. So he was just like, we're going to use her journal information, and we're going to build a Speed Force. And I want to see how this is going to work. Because, because now, I just want to know, because obviously they're going to build the Speed Force at some point. I just want to know, when they finally create this new Speed Force, are they going to let Wally in on it? And is Wally going to have speed too? Or is Barry just going to use it for himself? Just so, it's because right now Wally's speed, because Barry's losing his speed, Wally's losing his speed too. But I just hope that they let Wally in on that, so he can get some of that Speed Force. So, but that's it. But we'll see how this new creation unfolds when it happens. So the second part of the storyline, when we last left Iris, she's still trapped in the mirror, and Camilla is trapped in the mirror with her as well. The new Mirror Master, she has the Iris clone, but now she has a Camilla clone. There is a device, an energy light absorbing device that she said she created, and during the time that she was trapped in the mirror, her husband sold that device to Mercury Labs. And she's like, I need that device now, because I can use that device to get me out of this mirror. So she sends the clones, she sends in the clones to go to Mercury Labs to try to steal it. And then this other villain shows up to try to steal the same device, because her husband, the Mirror Master, her husband, as we learned early in the season, he's controlling these new superpowered villains that all have light-based powers. And a new one showed up, and she called herself Sunshine, and she was after the same device that the Iris clones were after. So what's happening now is, I don't know what the reason is, but the Mirror Master's husband, he wants the tech back that he sold to people. So I guess he realized that tech that his wife created is actually good for something. So now she's trying to get the tech to get herself out of the mirror, and he's trying to get the tech for whatever reason. We don't know his reasons yet. So, and because Barry didn't have his speed, Killer Frost ended up, when the meta attacked, when Sunshine attacked, Iris called the Flash, but because he was losing his speed, Caitlin went instead. Killer Frost went instead. She was fighting Sunshine. Barry couldn't help himself. He went in the archives. He took the Velocity 9, the V9. He took the speed drug. Then he tried to save He went in and tried to save Iris and them. It backfired because the drug affected his system, and then he got Kate murked. And then Kate took a shot in the chest, and then Sunshine basically bounced. So now Caitlin's out for the count. Barry's just like, I did the wrong thing. Plus, I don't have my speed now. What am I gonna do? And then Iris, Mirror Iris, told him, she was like, look, she was like, Barry Allen is just as important as the Flash. And she was just like, you're sitting here talking about how you think you're limited because you're Barry Allen, but metahumans are the ones who have limits. Like regular humans don't. We can always think forward. We can always come up with a new plan, but meta powers have limits. And then Barry thought about that, and then he was just like, hey, so they set a trap for Sunshine, where it's like they took the device that she wanted. They had it at GCPD. She shows up at GCPD. She chases Barry all the way into his crime lab. And then when she goes into the crime lab, to get the device, he closed all the windows, turned off all the lights, and then he was just like, haha, yeah. She was like, without light, you're basically just a random villain. And that's how they stopped her. They slapped the metacuffs on her, and took her to justice. While Barry and the police department were fighting Sunshine, the Mirror clones, they took the device and replaced it with a copy. So now the police department and Mercury Labs has a copy of the device, and and Mirror Iris and Mirror Camilla have the real one, and they've given it to the Mirror Master. So now she has this device, and she's going to use this device to get herself out of the mirror. We didn't see the actual Camilla and the actual Iris, so I don't know what's going on with them. But this is getting interesting. Like this whole Mirror Master, because like it's funny because the Mirror Master, she's viewed as the villain, but from her perspective, she's been trapped in a mirror for 5 years, and she just wants to get out. The husband has all these light-based meta villains, that he has like terrorizing the city, collecting parts for something that we don't know about. And then now Camilla and Iris are in there. So it's like, it's this whole big thing where it's actually it's interesting because I have no idea what's going to happen. And so, good episode of The Flash. So now, like I said, now Mirror Master, she's building her device. Her husband's still doing his tomfoolery. And Team Flash is on their way to build a Speed Force. Joe's still investigating a mole within the police department. Captain Zing came back. That was cool too. So that was it. I said that was it. So we'll see what happens next week. Nash dipped, so I don't think he'll be in the next episode. But he'll come around. Like him and Allegra will build a relationship, and then Nash will end up sticking around. So that's it. Thank you for tuning in. Leave a comment, like and or subscribe. That was my review for The Flash. And this coming Tuesday, I believe The Flash is back this coming Tuesday. So when The Flash resumes, we're going to pick up where we left off. Keep these reviews coming as we speed our way down to the season finale. So again, leave a comment, like and subscribe. Thank you for tuning in. And for The Flash, as always, until next time I'm out this bitch.